The big stories of the week, and of course, joined by political analyst par excellence, Mark Bichachi.
What does par excellence? I'm joking. How are you?
With the par being excellent
Yes.
in English, that would sort of be. Karibu sana Bwana Mark, of course. Welcome to the first show, new studio.
Yeah, you guys clean up nice.
Yes.
It looks good.
Yeah?
It looks good. I like
Fantastic
it. I
stuff.
like
That's why when you say this is what is on, it's exactly what we need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I think the color scheme works. I like the bar behind me.
Yeah.
You know, it's attention to detail.
Yes.
It was worth the wait.
And that's one thing Mark definitely does have indeed. When it comes to attention to detail, whether it's politics or anything, if you've ever spoken to Mark, you do know it. The devil for him is always in the details. Mark, let's jump right into the dailies right here. Of course, front page of the PD, defy Uhuru Raila at own peril, Sonko tells Ruto right there. This, of course, was a subject of a conversation had yesterday on our show, Punchline, with Ann Kiguta. Governor advising DP to support President handshake, building bridges initiatives to secure his 2022 ambition. How likely is the DP even to take such advice? As of now, we can see battle lines being drawn deep in the sand.
Yes, there are really two ways to look at it. Now, strategically speaking, in this country, you make a name for yourself for two reasons. Number one, being very close to power and playing nice by the game, right, or being absolutely defiant and being on the other side of the tracks. Now, who is William Ruto will answer the question. William Ruto is a child of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi.
Right.
He's a child of Raila Amolo Odinga, and he is therefore a hybrid of the two. So how has Raila Odinga fashioned his career? Right. In 1992 going towards 1997, Raila Odinga defied his father, defied Ford Kenya, and did the whole Tinga movement and moved away from it. Raila Odinga also knew to make a collaboration between himself and Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi and survived for 2 years. And then he flipped the bird on Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi to make his own career into the Rainbow Coalition in 2002. And then he defies Kibaki in 2005 to form ODM. So Ruto is a student of both schools of thought. Now here's my prediction. Number one, defying BBI is a risky strategy. And if you notice what the deputy president has done, he's very careful. He's careful to ensure that when he's speaking about BBI, he goes, you know what, let's focus on development. Let's see whether we can merge these documents. So he's playing it safe. Right. The guys who are always drawing the line in the sand are his lieutenants. Right. And it's a careful strategy of both in and out at the same time. Schrodinger's cat. Right. He's alive and dead to BBI at the same time.
And we'll let Mr. Mulwa join us. Good morning, Bonaben Mulwa.
Good morning.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Welcome to the new studio, as you can see.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The last time we were here is quite a while ago.
Yes.
Well, it's a beautiful place.
This is indeed the inaugural show, and Karibu sana for joining us.
Asante.
Ben Mulwa, governance expert. Yes. And you just joined us as Mark was going into the headline of the day as far as the People Daily is concerned. With the advice Nairobi governor is giving the DP to, back the handshake, back the BBI initiative, and, toe the line, so to speak. Yes. Right now we're asking, whose survival is this when the statement comes like that? Because he says that's the only way the DP's presidential 22 ambitions remain alive. Is that the DP he's looking out for, or is this statement actually supposed to guard the governor himself?
No. In my view, it is basic. It is a basic common standard. The deputy president remains the principal assistant of the president. Right. That is the mandate, and that is the definition of his role under the Constitution. Anything else is a creation of his own imagination. I remember a time actually when he was displaying some arrogance, insisting that he's the first deputy president of Kenya. Yes, the title is the first one, but the mandate is very clear in the Constitution. So when he begins to appear to be working against what his boss wants, when he begins to appear to be working against the dictates of what is expected of his office, then definitely he's on his own, and he cannot survive. Right. That strategy cannot survive. It has never worked anywhere in the world, and unfortunately, except the untidy scenario we are seeing playing out like in Kiambu, whereby the deputy and the governor are always at war, it has never worked for anybody. Right. Actually, Governor Sonko was very categorical. The deputy president just needs to focus on what the agenda the boss has set for the next 4 years. Then now, eventually, when the time comes, we can start listening to politics. But the deputy president started campaigning immediately
But let me
after the
jump in there.
2017
Let me jump in right
elections.
there because we've always had that accusation put against the DP
Yes.
in the sense that he's busy going around campaigning, he's busy making sure that his base is ready for 2022.
Yes.
And every time he says, you know what, I am the principal assistant, my job is to make sure my boss's mandate is carried out.
I want to give you specific examples. You remember there is a time actually when the president insisted that there is no more launching of projects. The president himself. 2 days later, the deputy president was in central Kenya launching projects. What does that tell you? This is somebody who has got no manners, primarily, who has got no qualms at all, defying the boss just for his own expedience. That strategy cannot work. Trust me.
Yes. And even as we say that, the same president who said there are no more launching of projects is the same president who said, huyu mtu wangu anatanga. That's where the phrase tanga came from.
Yes.
Utamuona huko kwenu vitongojini, tell him the problems.
Yes.
So is there double speak also coming from the top?
You see, one of the things that we must understand is that the marriage of a deputy president and the president is unbreakable without breaking the presidency. Same with the governor and deputy governor situation. Now, the only way for these two to survive is how they've survived the last 2 years. And this is what happens. On Sunday, Uhuru will say something that we take to be a very negative thing against the deputy president. The next day, on Monday, they're having lunch, right? So that is sort of, let me tell you, if seeing your father and mother eat lunch makes news in your family, that should tell you how serious things are between them. And that's really how the president and the deputy president have to balance things out. And if you listen to the deputy president, and you've correctly pointed it out, when he speaks, he says, I am launching development projects, I'm not campaigning. The reason for that is he is campaigning, but he needs to find a moniker under which to hide for him to continue campaigning. That is why if you listen to his rallies, it's almost like there's a diametric difference between him and his lieutenants. So his lieutenants will go hard on Raila, they will go hard on BBI, they will go hard on whatever it is that they want to do. The deputy president always comes up and speaks on a more balanced tone. That's because he's trying to toe the line between what the president said and what he wants. Now, here's the trick. The trick is this. If you're going to openly defy your senior, you must find a reason for which the public will support you. Hence, the title, Hustler versus Dynasty.
Which has also been addressed.
Yes.
Which has been...
Which you're trying to hide and say that those trying to stop me are trying to stop every hustler in Kenya. That gives you a basis. But you see, here is the problem. When you try to fight BBI and you don't know what is in it, all you're doing is you're giving the writers of BBI ammunition of writing things you cannot fight against. And I can bet my top dollar and my bottom dollar that what they will do is they will make sure that BBI will be more punguza mzigo than punguza mzigo. It will be more inclusive than any other document you are. So that now if you stand to defy it, you will come out looking as pro-corruption, you will come out anti-unity, and you look like you don't like punguza mzigo. So they will have to change their tune very soon.
And I like what you've just brought up right there, because that was something also subject of the utterances the president made, Bonamundo, in terms of the dynasties versus the hustlers. And the president came out and said it has nothing to do with dynasties. If you want to serve the country in terms of leadership, that's what it's all about. Not where you're from, not your tribe, not your color. And he says this, and that was a really big fundamental point that the hustler nation was using.
You know, Jeff, you have to agree. The deputy president's campaign has been premised on two fallacies. First, he calls himself the hustler. Ruto is not a hustler.
He said he didn't have shoes until the 90s.
No, all of us actually. In fact, almost everybody, including Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Daniel Moi, Mzee Kibaki. Kibaki went to funny schools and he became... So that is nothing. Right now, actually, because this narrative began a few years ago, insisting that he's a hustler is a lie, because it does not represent anything around hustling, except if he wants to use the colloquial meaning of hustling. Secondly, because there is that particular. That's very clever. Secondly, his campaign has been about dynasties versus hustlers. Now, look at the history of the deputy president. In 1992, when the whole country was at the heart of the clamor for multi-party democracy and actually trying to build a narrative for the common man, the deputy president was working with the dynasties. In 1997, Ruto was working with the dynasties. In 2002, when actually the entire nation coalesced around the removal of Kanu from power, Deputy President was working with Daniel Moi to retain power through Uhuru Kenyatta. Come 2005, come 2007, come 2013. So it's a hoax. Ruto is not a hustler. Right. Yeah, he only now identifies the dynasties when he thinks it is convenient for him. It is a lie.
Right.
So basing a campaign on those two lies is actually what the president was calling out last week on Thursday during the memorial, because they have worked together for a very long time, the two of them.
Right.
And they didn't start 2013. So in my view, and I think that was an interesting twist into the debate, because for the last 7 years, when Deputy President William Ruto has been on the campaign trail, he has never told us anything specific that he's achieving or not achieving. He has never been able to address to this country the economic mess that this administration has put this country into. He has never been able to address in his own words, I want to quote him because I was there when the Jubilee Manifesto was launched in Kasarani in 2013. In his own words, the deputy president insisted that we are going to have affordable power in this country. Today, we have capital flight from this country because manufacturers, which is one of the big four agenda, cannot afford power in this country compared to the neighboring countries. We have continued to see exorbitant and unnecessary investments in power at the expense of the common mwananchi. When we talk about food security, he's on record insisting that no Kenyan will ever go hungry. In fact, he said unga is going to become 60 bob. Today, unga is not affordable.
But also, Ben,
just a moment, just a moment.
But even on that, because they always say at the end of the day, where there's a backstop.
Yes.
He's there.
He has never come out or come back to us and told us, you know what, guys, I really imagined and I really hoped that this would work.
Right.
It is not working with my current principle. I'm calling it out so that I can come back to you, give me a fresh mandate so that I can be able to deliver this.
Right.
So running on these two narratives has been escapist, in my view.
Okay, yes,
trying to run away from the realities.
One of the things that any Kenyan should ask is, what is the promise for anyone's run? You cannot be campaigning when you're supposed to be doing a job.
Absolutely.
You understand? It's like you sitting there and say, the day I become a news anchor at K24 and host my own show, that show will be amazing. I'm telling you. And you're sitting on the anchor's table. And that's the question that he's raising. And it's a valid question. It does not make sense how sitting leaders are campaigning.
Right.
Because ideally what should be happening is they should be doing. So all they should be telling us is, listen, look at what we have done. 2022, we will continue what we are doing. Right. So you cannot separate what you are doing now and your run from 2022.
You cannot.
And that's very critical to underscore for the country to understand. And this is not about being against someone's run. It's about correcting our politics. Because as it stands today, the way this campaign is being run for 2022, it's almost as if there's a prince. And this prince was promised a throne 10 years ago. Right. 10 for Uhuru, 10 for him. Yes. Now, he's running on that principle that now it is almost his birthright. So now this is Prince Charles and Prince Harry having a fight in the house because one wants to usurp the throne. That is not how it's supposed to be. Right. What we need to be convinced of as a country is, what do we want for the future of the country? Now, and ironically enough, the BBI 9-point agenda addresses the hopes and dreams of this country. As in, I keep asking, what is this we are against with at BBI? The fight against corruption? Is that what we are against? Uniting the country? Is that what we are against? Having a national ethos and a national discourse? Is that what we are against? Solving our historical disputes? Is that what we are against? So when you say you are against BBI, what exactly is it? And that's the problem that we have. What we are trying to run away from is, unfortunately, where this hustler narrative is taking us back to. It's taking us back to an issue-based politics. It's taking us back to a politics that does not deal with the issues of this country. But for the deputy president, there is a lot of time for him to change his tack and change his strategy. And the strategy is very simple. Joe Biden, Okay? Listen, all Joe Biden needs to do to campaign in the United States today is everywhere he goes and he says, my good friend Barack Obama. My good friend Barack Obama. Meaning that what Barack Obama did is exactly what I'm going to do. Nitafuata nyayo. Okay? I will deliver what Barack Obama did. And that has given him top billing in the running for 2020. And that's where the deputy president, in my view, needs to find his strategy. He needs to find his strategy in the strength of Uhuru Kenyatta. Let me tell you, the best campaign platform for 2022 for anybody is making sure Uhuru has a legacy.
Absolutely.
And
that's what he should be back
that's
on
what he
for
should do.
2022.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Ngong Road is being built.
Okay, and we'll have to move on from this one because we can go on this one until 2022 if we went on this one because we need to move on. Writer, please keep your tweets coming in. By the way, we'll be sampling some of those at K24 TV. As we look at the big stories of the day, one of the biggest stories, of course, over the weekend is the national, housing and population census. Gentlemen, have you been counted? By the way, some people are saying I've been waiting for them. They haven't yet gotten to my house.
They showed up at my house last night.
Yeah. Bonamulwa?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I have not come across
neither
this
here
place.
as well. But even as we wait for the numerators to come to our households, some questions coming up, of course, concerning the costs, compared to the last time this was done. Also, the big question there in terms of identity, are we being counted or are we being identified? Because that's another question that the government spokesman saying
Actually,
it's okay, give your ID number, give your passport number, but international norms, I mean, just as long as I can say yes or no, if you have the document or not.
You see, it is unfortunate that we still have individuals in the year 2019 who cannot understand what enumeration entails or what counting entails.
Right.
Counting is when I walk into my cow yard and count the number of bulls I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I count the number of cows I have, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then the chicken. They don't need to identify themselves. I don't need now to start putting down that we have a red chicken and a checkered one and a gray one. It is a bit unfortunate because the communication from the government spokesman reeks of impunity, whereby it is against the provisions of the statistics law in this country. And that is very wanting because when they start even asking people about Huduma number, what has Huduma number got to do with census? What has Huduma number got to do with a population census? In fact, I would have expected the designers or the drafters of that questionnaire to start asking Kenyans, when was the last time you visited a public hospital? How were the services there? When was the last time you visited a police station? How were you treated in that particular police station? Because those are the planning issues they need to be talking about. Asking me about my ID number and my passport number and my Huduma number, what has that got to do with anything?
Okay, but Amulwa, hold on to that one because we'll be jumping into that a bit. We have to take a break right now, of course, but it does continue. We'll be getting Mark's views on this as well. We'll also be joined by Dennis Lumbi as we jump into this matter, of course. The census still going on up until August 31st, but how it's being done, the modalities of it are also being a sticky issue right there. That and plenty more of this will continue with our news review right here on K24 this morning. We'll be right back after this break.